Hey, how are you?
I'm terrific. And my other friend, uh, Mad Mike. Hey,
Ladies
man.
and gentlemen, nice to
Hey,
be
man.
here.
Okay.
And don't you like being called the buddy?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what's wrong with that? Hey, what's wrong?
There's nothing wrong. It's just, to call a lady a buddy, and it just seems a little weird.
Yeah, she's my friend, my buddy, my pal,
There you go.
and a great friend she is. Oh, I've been
Oh,
knowing
that's
Ann.
sweet.
Oh my God, has it been
And
going?
she's the level-headed one here on the Boomerang.
Yeah,
Just saying.
and that makes two of us, her, me, and Ann.
Makes one of you.
Yeah, okay, all right. See, we're getting started already, ladies and gentlemen. I told you
Why
to get
wait?
ready for it. Huh?
Why wait?
Why wait? You're exactly right. And speaking of burring somebody's saddle, that's Mad Mike. Yeah.
Is that what that is? He burned your saddle? Is that what you said?
Burr under your saddle, yeah.
Burr under
yeah,
your
that's
saddle.
right.
Okay.
That's
okay.
redneck.
Uh-huh.
Oh, is
That's
that what
redneck.
that is?
Yeah, that's
Well,
redneck speak for pain in the butt crack. I think we used that term last week, didn't we?
yeah,
Butt
okay.
crack.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I think Ann
Wow.
brought that up. Butt crack.
Yeah, but don't put it on Ann. But you're definitely
She's
a
the one that
bird,
brought
Mike.
it up.
You know, when I'm trying to, yeah, you did, yeah, and you kind of went off the rails last weekend, but that's
Well,
okay.
I did. I think did I apologize or did I not?
You shouldn't apologize, by the way. No,
Yeah,
that was just real.
I have to agree with Mike.
Keeping it 100, right?
You know,
Yeah, that's what that was.
and this is probably the only
Right.
time I'm going to agree with Mike on this show. Yeah, keep it real. I agree.
Okay.
Don't apologize. No,
No.
matter of fact, I got a chuckle out of it myself. I said, this is the language she was using before she was saved. Oh my goodness.
No, I wouldn't have said butt crack before I was saying.
Oh, okay. and didn't you tell me? Okay, I'm just going. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was,
You're wrong.
thinking it's something like that. Didn't you tell me that at one time in your life you used to cuss like a sailor?
I did.
Okay.
I told you that. Yeah.
Okay. So what's different than what I said?
Well, what's different is
She
I
done
would
grown up.
have
What had happened
said-
was
I would have said the word. I didn't say the word. I said butt crack.
She would have used the O
Oh.
word.
I would have used the word. Yeah, I would have said
okay.
the donkey word. Yeah. I would have said that. That's what I would have said.
You would have gone full throttle. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I
yeah.
agree. Hey, our good friend Howard Harris is listening right now. Hey, Howard, how are you, buddy? As a matter of fact, it's not next week. I think it's the week after on a Thursday night where Howard is going to sit in or fill in for Mad Mike on the Thursday show.
Ah,
Yeah.
awesome. Looking forward to meeting
I'm
you.
looking forward. Oh, yeah, you've got to tune in because if you think Mike is whatever you think about Mike, Howard is probably
Choose your
his
words
brother.
carefully there, Willie. Choose your words carefully.
Mike, I don't care. Okay, so all right, but anyway, he and Mike, they are so similar.
Are
And so
they?
I'm gonna have a good time. You get my attention. Yeah, it's just like Mike. Yep, see what I'm talking about? Who's in trouble? I'm not in any trouble. I'm not afraid of you or Mike. I'm telling you guys, right? Bring it, please bring it.
Noise. Yes, sir.
Oh.
It's on.
Oh, it's on. Oh,
Yes,
I love it. I
sir.
love it. Absolutely. I love controversy. And speaking of which, what we're going to do today, I've got a
Okay.
bunch of clips I want to play, but I can't play all of them because we barely get through one at a particular time. I should be what, Howard? Afraid?
Whoop. Very afraid. That's Yoda speak.
I love it. The triple H is on the way.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I love this stuff. Hey,
Well,
Howard,
now.
while you talking
Get him,
trash,
Howard.
tell your friends to tune in and make sure
Don't
you
listen to
tell
him,
them to
Howard. Get
tune
him.
in. Tell them, make sure you tune in. Hey, Mike, what date is that? Is that on the
That will be the 24th of this month.
24th? I thought so.
It's
Thursday, the
the
24th.
fourth Thursday of the month. Howard's going to kindly step in for me and keep little Willie in line.
Little
And
Willie.
I
wow.
appreciate the hell out of it.
Okay,
Val
I was going to
Omar's
say I got a little
Wow.
Willie for you, but I'm not
So,
going to say it live on the air. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
Are you
let's not
talking over
say
the
that.
top of me?
That don't come out right. I don't think that's gonna sound the way you want it to sound.
No,
if you say
it sounded exactly the way I wanted it to.
I don't know, partner. Try it again. Listen to it in your head.
Yeah, I heard it.
I don't think you want to say that again.
They have no idea what they in for. Well, Mike already knows. All right. So Howard, be careful what you ask for, brother. Okay. But anyway, let's get back to the show. See, what Mike and Howard try to do, they try to throw me off my game, but that can't happen.
Well,
if your game is solid, you can't throw the man off. That's right.
Okay. All right.
I was watching the rodeo yesterday, and I do like the rodeo. I love the bull
you got some redneck in you. You got a little bit of redneck in you. I knew it.
My blood is red, Mike.
Wow.
We got to get you a cowboy hat.
Wow.
And you told me that you were going to send me one. No, I don't want that one. I want that white one. You got a white one that is slick.
William, I just can't see it.
What,
now, I'm used to you and your pimp hats. You can't wear I can't see that. Don't do it.
Here. William, this is the hat I'm going to send you because this is what you need.
Wow.
That's the one you wore, folks. If you're not on Facebook,
wear one of these and get on the small yellow school bus.
That's what I was about to say. Now you anticipated what I was about to say. When you were on that short bus, that's what you had to wear to school, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Damn.
I understand.
I licked the windows and I wet myself. Yes.
Oh my gosh! Stop it! Stop it! I've been refereeing all day with AJ and Alex. Stop.
And this is what goes on Thursday nights. Okay. I'm trying to understand what Howard is trying to say here. I will be there, and I got him. He's scared. Who's scared? Our anniversary is April 17th. Is that yours and the latest Songbird Genders?
Oh, happy anniversary.
Or was that the last time you were on the show? Okay, I need to get some clarification there. Speaking of the latest Songbird Gender, it is actually one of the hottest shows on this network.
Yeah, and you still haven't introduced us, so I can have her on the show to promote her new show.
Well, I'm sure, Lady Songbird, if you're listening, you have an invitation. For 11 years, the Lady Songbird, Gender, and Howard has been together, and that is April 17th. Happy anniversary!
God bless your union, your family. Oh wow! God's continued blessings on you. Congratulations!
Congratulations! Yeah, and as a matter of fact, she has a show on Up and Coming. I mean, just one of the hottest shows we have on this network, and that is Soul to Soul. Sit down with the Lady Songbird Gender Harris, and you might be excited about this. I know you love music. Her song, Now That It's Over, her and Jeff Floyd, has reached #1 on the UK charts.
Praise the Lord! Congratulations! Yeah, I love the UK. Yeah, they are really great when they like you, they like you.
They like you. Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. And also, I think it was last year, she reached #2 in the UK for one of her other songs, and #1 on Spotify with her song. Boy, which one is that, Howard? Help me out with it. It's in the top. It's in my head right now. But #1 on Spotify. Retro Soul section. Amazing. Hey, Gender. Okay. You have been invited to Ann's show on Saturdays. Now it comes on. Oh, Trainwreck. Trainwreck was okay.
That's
that was number one on the Retro Soul on Spotify. And
Awesome.
I tell you what, Lady Songbird Gender, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna give Ann your number, and you guys collaborate and get together and come on her Saturday show. Okay?
Yay, love
Would
to have you.
Okay, great. It's already been. It'll happen.
Right. Just get out of the way now, William. Do the group text and with between the two of us, and I handle the rest.
And she's
in other words, get out the way.
Yay!
Get out the way.
I still have to be able to communicate. So
I understand that,
Ann. Text with the three of us on there, then I'll talk to her.
I understand that. Okay, don't be a mad Mike. Okay.
Oh, please. Never. No. I'm not mad. I'm never mad. As my son AJ would say, I might be a little disappointed, but I'm not mad.
It's mad with two D's. It's not mad like I'm upset. It's mad like I'm not right
Nutty.
in the head.
Yes, I'm definitely not that.
Okay. Well, I am.
Howard, we didn't invite you. You say yes, we will. Okay. Ann can have you on. It's her show. So if you want to have the latest song, settle down, William. No, you sound like Mike now. See, I told you guys are twins.
Just threw you all the way. Ann can have you.
I'll let Ann handle that. Okay. But no, actually, in all honesty, Howard and Gender has been on the Mad Mike and Wild Will Coast to Coast show.
Awesome.
You're the once, I believe.
Wow.
Check out, Mike. I'm not sure. I know at least once, if not twice.
At least once, yes.
Okay, because they've also been on my Cultural Excellence show, which happens on Wednesday, and they've been on Monday Night Madness, and they've also been on Sunday Night Go. Cool. So, yes, absolutely. One of my favorite artists of all times. And what I'm going to share with you, Ann, if you haven't heard her music before, please check it out.
Yeah.
Check out Jinda, Jinda Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The lady songbird, Jinda Harris.
Awesome.
And she also has a gospel song out as well.
Hey, love it. Price.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And so, Howard, yes, we've been on many of your programs. Yes, absolutely. We love
you know how to handle you. Okay.
Because of my respect for the lady songbird, Jinda Harris, I'm just going to leave it right there because you and I, we've got to have a conversation, Howard Harris.
About how this thing is gonna go on Thursday night. I'm running it. You understand? That's what William's saying.
Howard, don't do it. It's a trap, Howard.
Howard's not gonna run anything but his mouth. That's the only thing he goes. Just like Mike. I'm in charge here. Okay. All right. Yeah. Don't worry about it. The guy that pushes the buttons. Now, can I get to the show?
Sure.
I can't believe it. We're 21 minutes in. Okay.
Who's in charge here?
All we were doing is going along. You were procrastinating.
Sit in your big chair and push the little buttons. That's all you got to do.
And Mike, put your red hat back on. You know that short.
A hard hat. Oh my God.
It ain't no hard. Yeah.
Yes.
It's to keep it from butting his head against the window in the short bus. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Howard said you're supposed to be on his program next week, right?
I don't know what program he's talking about, except for the lady songbird, Jinda Harris, Soul to Soul. Sit down with the lady songbird, Jinda Harris. What it is, and let me just share this with you. We've been talking about it. Triple H stands for Handsome Howard Harris. Howard. Yeah.
His wife gave him that name, so you can't.
Well, I'm happy for him.
Because
I'm happy for him.
It's true, and she married him, so it's obviously he got some riz, as the kids would say.
Apparently. But on a serious note, it is an absolute. It's a no way will the co-host when I'm coming on next Thursday will you be the what?
Well, he said, no, you will be the
will be
co-host
the
when I come on next Thursday. In other words, he said he's taking over. It's going to be his show. That's what he said.
No, hostile her. Either handsome, handsome Howard her. Triple E. Okay.
Oh,
So
it's possible.
you know what it tells me? That Howard is in therapy. That's what it tells me. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. He's wrestling.
Handful Howard Harris.
Handful of Howard. Oh my God, he's funny. This is gonna be great, folks. I can see it right now. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Okay.
Both of you are going to need Act Right pills.
I'm not taking an Act Right pill.
I would tell Dr. Sims to get her prescription pad ready.
90-day supply, $19.99.
That's why you ran that red
90-day supply
on your head right now.
Cheap.
That's why you ran. Look like you know what? If it was yellow, it'd be a construction hat.
No, he's already explained. Mad with 2 D's. He's wearing it to block the government's rays from entering his brain.
and what you can't see is I lined it with tinfoil.
Right.
It's lined with tinfoil to keep the aliens from like getting in my brain.
No. You have a chip in the hat that connects you directly to the White House. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's so I can talk to Donnie. The big D.
Oh yeah. Wait, Donnie Daddy? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, Donnie Daddy. Yeah,
Daddy Donnie, your daddy. Look here. No.
I apologize, audience, because this has been 25 minutes of foolishness. I completely apologize.
What did you expect?
Let's get. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna get serious here.
We are definitely going. We're never gonna get real serious, but we're gonna get.
How's my hair? Is my hair all right?
Oh yeah. You're on mute.
Oh yeah, it's lovely.
You move back.
It's amazing how it goes right back into place.
Yeah.
30 minutes to do my hair.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely goes back in place if it ain't there. Okay.
30 minutes.
I got you. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we needed a little bit of laughter because of the tumultuous situation that the world is in right now.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And so I wanted
to
continue something that I was talking about. And that was if you notice what's happening, and a lot of you guys out there have 401ks, you have stocks, you have bonds, you have mutual funds and things like that. And you have been affected one way or the other. And so the market has been under Mike's boy, Donnie. The market has been crashing. Then all of a sudden last week, it took a huge spike up. And I got a text from someone who I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to mention his name, Mike. And he said, oh, see? When the market went up,
probably an intelligent person.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about how intelligent, Mike. No. You know, you're smart on some things. Some things you just need to stay the hell away from. But anyway, my point that I'm getting at, I get this. Oh yeah, see, I told you. Okay, after been dropping. You had one, just huge spike up, huge spike. And I want to get real serious right here, ladies and gentlemen, because this happens to be my wheelhouse. You know,
I was hoping you would explain that because I was sitting there looking at it. I'm like, it's just temporary. Why are you dummies doing this? And then it hit me. Oh, they're buying stocks at a discount. They're making money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And so those of you who are rah, see, Trump is so brilliant, blah, blah, blah. A couple of things happen. And the average person really doesn't know what happened. When the market was high, guess what? Those same investors that dumped those stocks, they bought it at a lower rate, didn't they? Then all of a sudden it gets up there, and before the surge happened, that morning, little Donnie got up and he says, it's a good time to buy. 2 hours later, he makes an announcement about him pausing most of the tariffs for 90 days. Then all of a sudden the market goes, whoop.
2,900. But it didn't stay. It didn't last long.
Folks. If this isn't market manipulation, nothing is. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah, I think
Because
there's an
think
open
about
investigation now.
I don't care if you have $1 million in the stock market, 500,000, 100,000, $1 million in the stock market. If you dumped your $1 million right now, sold off your $1 million right now, that needle would barely move. But there's a sector in our country and in the economy called institutional investors. And they buy big, huge blocks of stocks. I'm talking about billions and billions of dollars. So those of us who maybe have 50,000, 100,000, and even up to $1 million in the market, we really don't make the market work. We are contributors, okay? But it's the institutional investors that make the market run. If they buy billions of dollars of stocks, the stock market goes up. Please follow me. The market goes up. Those same billionaires, if they sell their stocks, especially collectively, the market drops. That's a fact. Okay? So what happened was when he says, buy, it's a good time to buy now. Then he comes up and he says, there is a 90-day pause. Then all of a sudden people start buying, and those billionaires start buying a bunch of stocks. They're buying a bunch of stocks. Okay? And the market gonna keep rising, 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 rising. And us small guys, we start dumping our money in it. Oh, they're onto something. They're onto something. That's a false flag. Because I'm gonna tell you what happened the next day? The market dropped again. You know what happened? Those billionaires got us to contribute until it goes up. And now they sell and take the profits, and the market drops back down. And so those who you are okay, one day, check your portfolios, because since he's been in, the market has lost $10 trillion, even with that one-day rise there. So you have to understand what's really going on. And I'm gonna break it down a little bit further to you.
Oh, please do, because I want you to explain what was it that China and Japan were selling off that scared everybody?
Yes.
Because that yield is supposed to go in the opposite direction of stocks. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
Is it the bond yield?
Those were bonds.
Okay.
Bonds.
Yeah, explain that too.
Okay, let me just drop this down. So in the market, and there's a lot more that has to go on. I'm gonna try to keep it as simple as possible. But let's talk about, we've got stocks and we have bonds. So what happened when he slapped those tariffs on China, okay, and Japan and the rest of those countries, they are, keep in mind, they are the biggest American bond holders in the world. Meaning they have loaned us billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, which has also attributed to the debt that we're in. Okay? So what happened was, with the uncertainty, Japan and China, who are the largest bondholders, they decided, we're dumping our bonds. What that does, that destabilizes the American dollar. It destabilizes the American bond market, okay, as well. And so if you buy a bond, just look at this like perhaps maybe a CD or something like that, and you're going to get a certain yield. Bonds do not yield to the degree that stocks do. You might get 3, 4, 5% on your bond that you bought. Okay, so what is a bond? Let's say you're in Arkansas, and your school needs to build more schools, and what you do is issue a bond that me or anyone else or some entities can purchase, which will give you the funds to build your schools. Okay, Now, that bond also has what they call a yield on it. That bond might be worth 2, 3, 4, 5% to you. That means that as long as you hold that bond, you're going to get a 2, 3, 4, 5% return on your money that you have, that we have loaned you in order to build your schools.
Okay.
And what happens is if someone, and let's say there are a thousand of us that have bought your bonds to build your schools. If all of a sudden we start dumping those bonds, then the whole thing becomes unstable. Okay. So now,
so since they've already dumped the bonds, since they've already dumped the bonds,
to someone else.
Okay, so this instability stopped. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to.
No. Your instability doesn't stop. What happens is now that bond does not have the same assurity or stabilization that we had. Okay, because you start dumping it, and then now it's going to cost more for anyone else to buy that bond, or some people may choose not to buy that bond at all. Okay, so it doesn't have the value that it had when we first started this, because we believed in your enterprise. That's why we bought it.
See, so is it just sitting there, or did
it's an investment?
It's still there.
Okay,
but it becomes more difficult. The funding becomes more difficult. In other words, it doesn't have the same strength that it did, because you have to understand with the market, the bond market, the stock market, it's all built on confidence. If I have, the less confidence I have, the less chances that I want to buy it. I'm not going to invest in anything that I'm not certain of.
I guess my question is this. The way I see it, is one thing to want to sell your stock or to want to sell your bonds. It's another thing for somebody to actually buy it. So if they started dumping it, does that mean that they just put it up for sale, or that they actually sold it?
Well, it's not dumped until they sell it.
Okay, so they sold a bunch of the bonds that they have to somebody else, obviously.
Right, but that means that it's not worth as much.
Okay.
It's not worth as much as it was, because the uncertainty is there. Okay. Again, the reason why people buy is because it's like when you buy anything. You buy it because you're confident that it's going to do what the intent and purpose is, that it has value. You see? All right. It's just like anything that goes up. And that's why the housing market is going up, because the housing market, well, number one, you got to have a place to live.
Of course.
Okay. And the market knows that. A car.
I got my car.
See, but the thing about it is, the difference between houses and cars, houses appreciate, cars depreciate.
For the most part.
For the most part. Oh, yeah. Oh, they do. Your car right now is not worth as much as it was when you bought it.
What I'm saying is sometimes neighborhoods, can go down.
Whenever you buy a new car, it drops 1/3 as soon as you drive it off the lot.
As soon as you drive it off the lot,
if not more.
Insurance.
but conversely, you buy a house. Houses don't depreciate.
True.
Okay, houses don't depreciate. Land does not depreciate. Because an athlete several decades ago, he said something that made sense, because a reporter was asking him, well, with your money, a lot of players, they go out, they buying fancy cars, they buying jewelry, they buying the bling, they're doing this and the other. How come you invest in the real estate? He said, because they ain't making no more of it.
There's an true. No, there's an infinite amount of land, and you can't create more land here on Earth. It is what it is. So if you invest in land, which is a limited commodity, then you're always going to go up with land. Absolutely. So, and this is the thing about it. That's why you want something that's certain, and land is certain, because we all live on it. That's a certainty.
Right.
But see, when you start talking about stocks and bonds, they aren't a certain thing. That's why it can go up and down. That's why you can lose or you can gain.
Mm,
Okay. Now,
mm.
something else that I want to bring to attention is that we have to also understand that the market doesn't only consist of stocks and bonds.
Right.
You have the Dow Jones. What is the Dow Jones? You hear about the Dow Jones. Those are your prime stocks, the top 30 stocks, all put together in a basket.
Mm.
You take your top 30 companies, they're in that Dow Jones. And it does, it had throughout my career, almost 30 years, it has changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But those top 30 are pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're pretty consistent. Then what you hear on TV is you hear about the S&P 500, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those are your top 500.
Mm-hmm.
And they're put together all in a basket.
Mm-hmm.
Then you hear about your NASDAQ.
Those are the tech stocks, right?
Tech stocks, you're exactly right. They're put together in a basket.
Mm-hmm.
But has anyone heard of the Russell 2000?
I think I have heard of that, but I don't know much about it.
That's a conglomeration and it's a mixture. There's 2,000 stocks in there.
Okay.
And you put that in a basket.
Right, right.
So you think, so just think about this as shopping. Then you have the Wilshire 5,000.
Mm.
Many people don't even hear about that.
And that's just America. I mean, you've got the Nikkei, and
right.
You've got, I forget the one, what they call the one in Europe, and I mean, everybody. China has one. Everybody has a
That's
stock
right.
market.
That's right. And because there's a world market, we can buy that too. Now,
I'm heavily involved in the Compton 500.
Didn't hear. Had never heard of that one until today either.
Hey, folks, don't listen to that. There ain't no such damn thing. It's a Compton. Compton is.
How about the Muscoy 500?
the Musk, folks.
William knows Muscoy. He used to live close to Muscoy.
Let's put it like this.
William used to live within 10 minutes of Muscoy.
Muscoy,
which is a little city here in SoCal.
Oh yeah, and guess what? If the land, I don't know, depends on the cost of it. It's not a desirable place that you want to live. All right. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So anyway, so we talked about, hey, Dr. Sims, she decided to chime in. Glad to have you.
Hey, lady.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you? Thought you were going to be resting.
I am exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been jogging?
Are you cute? Don't get cute. But anyway.
I'm just asking a question.
No, she was celebrating with her granddaughter. Her granddaughter got her master's.
No, my daughter-in-law. She passed her. She graduated with straight A's from psychology, getting her psychology degree, master's, and got accepted in the doctoral program right away.
Well, great. Awesome. Now, what is her goal? She wants to be a doctor, a psychologist?
No, a psychologist. She's already did her internship.
Okay.
And she wants to be a psychologist. Right now she works at Kaiser Hospital, been working there for years.
Wow.
Good. What's her name?
Her name is Tammy Flakes.
Hey, Tammy. Congratulations. And as soon as you get your degree and set up your practice, call up Mike. Because he knows.
I'm just going to say, William,
I told her about you already. You need to get some act right. You need to get straightened down.
So you didn't tell her about Mike?
No, Mike is pretty cool.
He's just mad.
No. I know what's going on here. It's conspiracy.
You don't know nothing. You know absolutely nothing.
I know. Look, I know more than you know. I think I know Missy.
Dude, have a seat. Go get your.
Ma'am,
on your speakers. Go check on your speakers and come back right. Okay, I'm just saying.
This is the Boomerang Radio Show. I'm the host. Okay. So let's go.
You know what? You keep fanning that out there. We know who you are.
Well, good. I'm glad you didn't recognize and stop
And see
saying.
what
Oh, you
happened.
are
We had
so
gotten
good.
past the foolishness, and now we're back.
And Michael's up there talking about raise the roof. Yeah, we gonna raise the roof around here. All right, trying to get
Now,
caught
I
up.
might not be on here all the whole time. It depends.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm drug over, but I'm not. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
what we talk about? We talk about money and
Mhm.
what different things is going on.
Oh,
So
you gonna give us some? Oh, I'm sorry.
you know, uh, with my
You know,
contributions, I think you should be paying me. So
Uh-oh.
oh,
Uh-oh.
you know
sit
what? You don't
Uh-oh.
have it like that. Wait a minute.
Please.
You made a comment before, since I'm awake now. You made a
Mhm.
comment
I'm
before in
glad
one
you
of your
finally.
little
I'm
shows.
glad you finally woke up.
Listen. You made a comment on one of your little shows. You said, I made you. But Media Land,
No,
let
I
me
never said
correct
that.
him. Yes, you did. And I have
No.
the show where you said it. Yes, I do.
I did not.
Okay.
Well, I need to
I
hear
got,
this.
yes, you
I
did.
never.
And
No.
I will give you the date. And you were
Well, send it to me.
teasing.
I tell you
And
what.
I said, you just talk over me because you don't want it to be exposed. But anyway,
Oh,
and
like
I
you
said,
do?
I have to correct something. I said, he
Okay.
did not make me. I
I
was
never
made
said
Uh-oh.
that.
before he met me.
All
I
right,
never
all
said
right,
that.
all right.
I never said that. No. Number one,
Yes, you
I am
did,
not. I am
sweetheart.
not
I
that.
wouldn't put
No.
something out there
No.
like that. No, I wouldn't.
You taking too many of those pills that you manufacturing.
Oh,
You need to
Mhm.
stop
My
it. I
point
wouldn't
is,
say
I never
something like
said.
that.
No, I never
I
said
wouldn't
that.
say something like that unless it's true, dude. I
Well,
don't
I
do
would
that.
not. Look here. I would not deny it
I
unless
think you
what
were
you
on a
said is
fix or
not true.
something like that, but I will show
No,
you when you said it,
no.
okay?
I tell you what. Send it to me because number one, I didn't make you.
Yes,
God,
I know you couldn't
God
make
and your
me.
parents made you. I would never ever say anything like that.
I wasn't talking about to that extent, William. I was talking about to the
I,
extent of
no, I didn't.
success of
I
who
didn't do
I
that either.
am.
Now,
But you were doing it in a kidding manner. Don't get it twisted.
I
Okay.
never. No. Well, I may
But
have
you
said
did
something
say it,
else.
sir. Yes, you did.
No, Dr. Sims, bring some receipts next time.
Okay, okay,
Because
okay, okay, okay,
Trust,
okay, okay, okay.
trust.
we already
get in there, Ann.
established
yeah,
that
no.
she is going to
Number one.
give that
Number
she
one.
is going
No.
Referee
to
this,
send it to
Ann.
you.
Yeah.
So now we're
Thank
moving
you,
back to the
Anne.
stock
Thank
because
you,
I'm trying to
darling.
understand
Let
how
me
this stuff works.
say something.
Okay.
Let me
Thank
say
you,
something.
Anne.
No,
You're welcome.
I
Still
will never.
love you, William. You're all right. You're a good dude, but you did
I,
say it. But anyway,
no, I
Anne,
did
thank
not say
you.
it. I'm
What were you
denying.
guys talking
Oh,
about? Money?
No. What I am saying, what I may have said is that in the very beginning, you said, William, I don't know anything about this radio stuff. Now, and that's a fact. And I said, okay, all right,
Mm.
let's do this. And when you said that, okay, I want to create a show, and we came and you and I talked about this behind
No, you
the scenes.
asked me to. You asked me to come on there because I already told you about my
No.
show.
You said that you wanted to have your
Oh
own
my
show.
goodness gracious.
Oh Lord,
Wow, I already had my own show.
Moving
Dr.
on.
Sims,
Moving on.
Well,
Moving
I will
on.
Yeah, I
let
already
y'all
had
no,
know
my
that I
own
told you that I
stuff.
didn't know
Come on,
anything
Ann.
about
Get him.
radio, and
Mike,
you
Moving on.
helped me. So I
everybody's
don't.
talking, and you know what? Right now, this has become noise
Well,
because everybody's talking at the same
It's
time.
not noise.
Well, it's noise if I don't understand. I can't
Oh,
hear you.
sorry.
You can't hear me. It's noise.
Okay.
May I finish, please?
Oh,
May I finish? So,
silence.
so what I'm saying is, you and I, even when you came to CC's kitchen, you came and you asked my advice about that. I say, oh yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. You say I would like to do this on your network. I said, oh, that sounds good. That sounds good.
no,
Okay.
I did not. You asked me to come on there, and I told you I had a show. William, let's back that train up. I remember very, very well, dear heart.
Mm.
You asked me, and I told you I had a show
You
that
said you had
because you
an
asked
idea
me,
of a show.
you asked me after Miss Penny left, I believe at that time. And Miss
Okay.
Penny left, and you asked me if I wanted to come on and do a show. And I said, yeah, I have a good idea for something I've been holding on for 10 years, Miss Cece's Kitchen. Okay. I remember the dialogue clearly. And I said, okay, that might be so. I said, but let me think about it. Got to pray about it. I don't do anything just going forward like that. So let me pray about that one. And then I did. And I says, well, I did a pamphlet many, many years ago on Miss Cece's Kitchen. And I said, now is the time for me to resurrect it. It's a good time. You asked me to come on board and we dialogued about this, you and I. And then even with the good, bad, and the ugly, I said that, because we're kind of wrapping our head around like a little slogan. And the good, bad, and the ugly came to forefront. And I thought, great idea. We could use that because that's what my show was all about. And so we resurrected it that way, which was great. So it was already a pre-made show, but you invited me to come on there and do the show after Miss Penny left.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, fine. Well, you had a concept of a show. Okay. you yeah, you had a concept of a show, and I mean that's exactly what it is.
Moving on, William.
I listened. Okay, can I finish? Because we've gotten all off topic here, and so
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
We gotten all off topic. So, congratulations, you have Miss Cece's Kitchen. You and I talked about it beforehand. You and I went back and forth, not back and forth in a hostile way or anything like that, and we came up with an idea. We came up with you came up with the idea. You say, I like that, I like this. I said, okay, let's launch it. So how whether I invited you or not, I think that is irrelevant. Okay. The point is that it happened and you did a great job and you decided to go up and do your own thing. And huge congrats to you. And I wish you nothing but the best with that. So
and today's topic is
Mike, nobody's talking to you right now. I was talking to Dr. Sims.
I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
I should have stayed off. Oh my goodness.
Hey, that's fine. Okay. Hey, the point that we were getting at, we were talking about the economy, not necessarily the economy, but we in the sense of overall, but we were talking about how the market works. This is what, so we're going to get back on subject right now on what's happening. And the whole thing about this is that those of you that were rah because the market went up one day and you think it was some genius with the president, you are wrong. I mentioned something about he caved, which he did. He caved because he looked at that bond market. Folks, that is a staple in our economy. If our bond market fails, the United States is not as powerful as we are, or which we once were. And so he changed it from tariffs on everybody. We're going to slap all these tariffs on everyone. And a lot of people thought it was a good idea. Okay. It wasn't. It wasn't. They said, well, there's a trade deficit. Think about this. If the United States is 350 million people, and Canada is 40 million people. I want you to think about this. There's no way they can afford to buy the same amount of goods from us that we buy from them. It's impossible. It is impossible. So, there's going to always be a trade deficit when you have a larger company, a country rather, with 100 or 200 million more people than you have. How can I make up that deficit? I cannot even afford or even need the amount of goods that America can buy. There's going to be a trade deficit. It can't be equal in trade. Canada has 40 plus million people. Mexico has 125 million people. We have 350 million people. I can't say, okay, if I spend $100 billion with you, Mexico, you got to spend $100 billion with me. Canada, I'm going to send $100 billion with you per year in trade. You've got to buy $100 billion from me. That's asinine. That is absolute. It makes no sense mathematically, folks. You have to understand what's going on. And to slap tariffs on everybody, that means that anything that's imported here in the United States, the country that we are putting the tariffs on do not pay those tariffs. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, they brought out a list on that, William. They did. They gave a list on all those who weren't paying tariffs. Now you gave the number of the number of people.
No, what you mean?
China is China over? Didn't China? Excuse me. You talking about population? Isn't China's population more vast than ours?
I'm not talking about China. I didn't say China. We'll get there in a minute. I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mexico and Canada, we have a trilateral agreement that Trump signed during his first presidency. Then he turned around and said, who signed the stupid agreement? He did. That's a fact. So my point, we can get to China in a minute. But let's talk about the trilateral agreement.
William, are you going to give a 30-minute speech, or are you going to let people talk?
Oh, and let me finish what I'm saying. We can't.
I've been waiting for 30 minutes.
Mike, hold on. Mike, you get plenty of chance to speak. But what I'm saying is, I have to set the stage so we know what to speak on.
Well, and the point in 30 words or less. I mean, let's
it can't be conversation because here. 30 minutes or less will not handle this.
Stop giving a speech,
Mike. I need to set it up so we'll know what to talk about. It's not a 30-second thing. I'm trying to get people to understand. That's why so many stupid things have been happening in this country, because people don't listen. And I started this thing off with something that I know about, which is the economy. I know about the stock market. I know how these things happen. Your expertise is in law enforcement. Dr. Sims is in psychology. Anzus is in law.
Mine's in reality.
Finance. How in the hell are you going to respond to something if you don't know what you're talking about, if I don't explain what I'm talking about?
Are you done?
What would you like to say, Mike?
I'd like to say it'd be really nice if you wouldn't give 30-minute speeches and let other people chime in and talk about what you're talking about. What I would like to say is, you don't understand that this is a big chess game. It's a back and forth. Am I frozen here? My screen looks frozen. Anyway, it's a chess game. And what's going on is not illegal at all. It's moving your pawns on the board. This is not checkers. This is chess. So it happens in a large format where pawns and rooks and knights and queens and kings are all being moved individually. And that's what you're failing to understand. When you look at what Nancy Pelosi did, we're
not talking about Nancy Pelosi. We're not talking. No, Mike, let's get back on subject.
I am. You're not going to do that. Nancy. See, now you're talking over the top of me.
Nancy Pelosi, you talk over top of me all the time.
Nancy Pelosi manipulated the market. She took advantage of the market, and she made millions.
We're talking about today.
I'm talking about making money off the market. We're talking about money.
Then talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, which did it a few days ago. Talk about her too. Why you pull up Nancy Pelosi? You want to directly talk about a Democrat, okay? Why don't you talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, who sold over $750,000 of stocks this week? Why you want to go to the Democrat, Mike? You're being disingenuous. You're being disingenuous, Mike.
I can't continue because you keep talking over the top of me. So
hold on. Can I say something real quick?
You're not being honest.
Let me say something real quickly. It's one thing to play chess. It's another thing to cheat.
It's crazy.
And while I will agree that there are people, whenever you have two lawyers on any point of law, you can definitely get two sides of the coin. And that's happening. You got some lawyers on one side saying, nah, it's not insider trading. Then you got other lawyers on the other side saying, yes, it is insider trading. I'm not an attorney for the SEC, so obviously I can't tell them what to do. But when you write in all capital letters on your social media page, this is a good time to buy, and then your initials, which I think corresponds with his stock, it seems to me, and I'm not a stock person, but it seems to me that if you then go on to say an announcement that, oh, I'm pausing the tariffs for 90 days, and everybody starts buying. It sounds to me like insider trading. The thing of it is, the politicians are not supposed to trade on information that's not public knowledge. That's one of the bars, I guess you can say, or one of the elements of insider trading for them. We can all say very publicly that, I mean, very honestly, that we've been talking about the market, diving for days at a time leading up to this. So we knew that. What we didn't know was that he was going to pause tariffs when he wrote that on his social media page. That it was a good time to buy, because it was not looking like a good time to buy. It was looking like, if you're a gambling man, if you want to try this, you can. But people were dumping stock all over the world. So it didn't look like a good time to buy until he said so, and then decided, oh, I'm pausing, tariffs on everybody except for China. That's why you have people who on one side are arguing that this was a clear violation of insider trading, and then people on the other side saying it's not, because it looks like insider trading. The problem is the law is very murky when it comes to insider trading. There are no hard and fast statutes about it, and the ones that are out, what's out there, it's a bit ambiguous. So we do need a lot of clear laws to explain to the average person what insider trading is, and to definitively state, this is what it looks like, this is this is what it does not look like, and that will make it a lot easier for everybody. But the way that it is now, it looks like rich people are protecting rich people and helping rich people to make even more money, because it's not me, you, me, well, I won't say you, because I think that's how you and William met, because you did some trading with him. But I'm not the one who's got a whole lot of money in the stock market. So when it goes up and it goes down, I don't rush to my bank or my portfolio to see what's going on. The only thing I'm concerned about, because 401ks are usually tied into the stock market, so a lot of people are worried about their retirement benefits. But that would be the extent of it for me. So what should people be thinking about when it comes to their retirement benefits? Is this a problem for them? And is it just a short-term problem or a long-term issue?
Yeah. My thing is, like I said, now this is because I don't want to get off topic, but point was, I'm trying to say what's going on, and Mike wanted to talk about Nancy Pelosi. No, look, Nancy Pelosi, I said, Mike, I just started talking. Come on. All right. Nancy Pelosi, I told the world, Republican, Democrat, Independents, they all have
part of the problem.
Mike, they are corrupt.
Yes,
they are corrupt with dealing with the stock market. I've said that. But I don't want to go back to George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. I want to talk about what's happening today. I've already acknowledged there is corruption on both sides.
Yes.
I've acknowledged that over and over and over again. But what I'm saying is what's happening right now. And there's no comparison. Yep, you got Democratic crooks. You got Republican crooks. But the way I've been looking at this, it's like a 10-2, and the Republicans are leading the crook organization. All right? There are more crooks that I see on the Republican side than I see on the Democrat side, even though I know there are Democratic crooks. I know that. So, but what I'm saying is disingenuous for you to bring up Nancy Pelosi when I was talking about something else. We're talking about today.
Am I wrong?
We're talking about today.
Am I wrong?
But I'm saying, Mike, look, again, I'm not going to do this. That we talk over each other. Okay, you're free to say whatever you want to say, but the audience cannot hear us if we're talking over one another. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I'm going to give you the floor right now. Say whatever you want to say.
No, I'm waiting for you.
Well, how you waiting for me when you keep talking over me?
You're going to give another 30-minute speech, and
you don't know what I'm going to do. You're not a chip in my brain. You don't know what I'm going to do.
30-minute speech.
You have the floor right now. Say something that the audience can understand. I got nothing to say
because you're going to do another speech.
Mike, why don't you speak right now?
No, as much as you got nothing to say because I'm waiting for your speech.
Why don't you be quiet when I'm talking then? If you have nothing to say, why you keep jumping in when I'm talking? That makes no sense either. I'm going to go to a clip right now because what happened.
William, can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, ma'am. Please ask a question.
I was reading about tariffs. I know it's an economic value on both sides when there has to do with their product. And the reason why, and I know you're going to bring up China, but it's really of all the countries that we're interacting with. When they are having our products and then they're shipping their products to us, because each country is valuable as far as their product, if I'm correct, right? What we achieve from them and what they achieve from us. Right. But here lately, and it's been my question because a lot of our businesses have been sold to other, or I should say our products are being made in other countries, okay? And then they're turning around and shipping that back to us, and we have to pay tariffs on it. How is that fair? That's always been my question. How is that fair? And then two, you said something about inside trading. How can people do inside trading when they get firsthand if the stock is going to go down or if it's going to go up? And we know a lot of that's been done for years. I mean, this is just not something just now happening. And it's almost like a gamble, I think, in my mind, like they're playing chess to see what the outcome is. And I look at the stock market, how it fluctuates and go up and down. And you were talking about that, and it does do that. But somebody is getting some kind of word on the inside. And that's my theory and my thought process. And It's certainly not us. We only see the effects of it, what's been posted. But I think that they get it far in advance than we do. I don't know what your feeling is about that.
I think you're 100% correct. I think you're 100% correct. And that's what insider trading is all about. Okay. Remember, and a lot of you know about Martha Stewart. Remember?
Oh, she went to jail for that.
She went to jail. She went to prison for 1 year because she got some. I'm hearing some noise. Let me see who's causing noise. Yeah, I found it corporate. That was Mike. Okay. All right. Anyway,
it's not me.
No, it's not you. I apologize, Mike. Okay. Oh, Dr. Sims, you got some noise going on in the background. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm gonna mute your mic. Yep. Okay, you're the culprit this time, but that's okay. It's okay. We'll get it fixed. You're exactly right, Dr. Sims. I'm getting some feedback, so I'm gonna mute your mic just for a second, and then you can come back on, Dr. Sims. You're exactly right. Martha Stewart got some inside information. And she talked to her broker, and they decided to dump a whole bunch of stocks. And see, what happens is there's a tracking system. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot going on with the stock market that I'm going to try to explain going down the road here that you guys don't know about it. The stock market has a system in place, and they look at patterns. Okay? It's almost like algorithms. And you could probably say that it is algorithms, that they look at certain patterns about certain things and when people do certain things and when they don't, okay? And Martha Stewart got busted. And her broker got busted. I don't know what happened to him. I'm sure he lost his job. But if I were to do something like that, I could go to prison, pay up to $1 million in fines, and lose my license for 10 years. Okay. In other words, my career is over.
Pretty much.
Okay. And you do that for a few dollars. Okay. And so, no. The thing about it, this is Republican, Democrat, Independent. If they are in Congress, and this burns me, Mike, this is a burr under my saddle. Okay. It burns me. They can do the same thing that Martha Stewart did, and nope, it's okay. How in the world can
Nancy
Congress
Pelosi
get away? Nancy Pelosi. She's not the only one. And see, where you being disingenuous is that you're not calling out the other guys that's doing this. You always revert back to Democrat. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
He's one of the worst offenders, and you know it.
Well, I tell you who's one of the worst offenders is Donald Trump and Jared Kushner. Because you wanted to talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. I don't give a hoot about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Which was real, by the way.
Oh, guess what?
You forgot about it being real.
And Jared Kushner getting $2 billion from the Saudis, is that real? You don't talk about that, do you, Mike? You don't say that, do you?
How much did Hunter Biden get from Russia? And
it wasn't $2 billion.
Oh, you forgot about that. Sorry.
No, because it didn't happen. Hunter Biden. Mike, you have not done your homework, because I'm gonna tell you.
I'll be over here in the corner. Go ahead.
You don't want to go down this path. Come on, let's be honest. What's the most that Hunter Biden ever got out of whatever he did? $5 billion, $5 million versus $2 billion. Come on. I wouldn't even waste my breath saying something that's stupid. 5 million versus 2 billion.
Okay, hold on. Let's
come on.
Everybody out there in radio land needs to know this. The Hunter Biden laptop thing, there was an investigation with the special prosecutor, and the only thing that they were able to charge him with was the fact that he bought a gun while he was high. And of course, they went after him for tax, for tax issues, which he had already come to a settlement with them for, but they decided to prosecute anyway. And that's after having the laptop and doing a thorough examination of everything that's on it. So I just want to say, for the people listening, if you go look all of that up, and I mean, you can watch the news. That's the only thing he was ever charged with. So I don't think that we should make allegations about him doing anything else when that issue has been thoroughly investigated, because I don't want anybody to be accused of slander.
I have one question for all of you. Who's the big guy?
What big guy? What do you mean?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
The big guy that's mentioned on his laptop, 10% for the big guy.
I don't know.
You never heard this. 10% for the big guy. Who's the big guy?
I never heard that. I never heard
I heard it. I heard it before too. And you know, that is a false flag, or a something to throw everybody off. Who is the big guy? And now I know who Mike is talking about. The big guy was supposed to be Joe Biden.
I think y'all are missing the point. The point is, no. I just want to keep everybody from getting in legal hot water. We're not going to slander somebody, because what we can say definitively is there was an investigation which included the laptop. And the charges that came from that investigation amounted to evidence that he bought a gun when he was clearly a drug addict. And if I'm not mistaken, he was also, they backed out of the deal he had with the IRS and decided to charge him over that. So apart from anything else, I would just tread carefully with what you say, because this is what we know.
I just asked one question: who's the big guy?
like I'm saying, and I'm just saying, I don't even know anything about that. That's the first I've ever heard of it. Of course, I don't dive deep into that side of things. I I'm more concerned about what can you prove, and that's what they
Right.
proved.
That's right.
So that's what was proven. That's what he got convicted of. So we probably should be careful about what we say, so that you know
Oh,
we don't open ourselves up to another can of worms. So
you
let's
know,
go back to the market stuff. And I
I,
think that's a safer topic. And
I,
you answered Dr. Sim's question, but you never answered mine, which was, what is the issue about 401ks and how they are being affected? And should people be worried that this is going to affect their retirement in the short term only or long term?
let me. Thank you. Let me
You're
bring this back
welcome.
around, and let me answer that question. Yes, people should be concerned about their 401ks and how does this affect it? Because now I want everybody to pull out a pad right now.
How about I pull
Okay,
out my phone?
pull out a pad right now. I want you to write something down, and
Okay.
it's going to be very, very simple. Excuse me, I need to cough.
Cough. Okay, I got my iPhone
Okay,
out
okay,
to an empty notepad.
okay,
So what
and
do you
it's
need
going
me
to be
to write?
simple. This is going to be simple.
Okay.
You lost 50%. 50% of $100,000 is what?
50,000.
$50,000. So let me tell you why everyone shouldn't get excited, because you may or may not have gotten, and this is so kind of complicated. I want to make it as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I got a question for the panel. Your portfolio dropped $50,000. You got $100,000. The next day, it gained 50%. How much do you have in your portfolio?
It went back up to 100. Well, no, if you gain 50% of 50,000, you got 75,000 now.
Bingo.
Okay.
You see, and you just, I knew you were smart. I always knew you were smart. No. Believe me, because do you know the average person answer would be, I got $100,000 back. Because they
No.
don't understand how the market works. If it drops 50% and the next day you gain 50%, you are not back to 100% of what you started with. And
Right.
and the answer is 1,000% correct. Your
Praise the Lord for common sense.
$100,000, even though you came back up 50%, even though you came up back 50%, you only have $35,000. And the question to the panel and to the audience, are you okay with that? Are you
Oh,
okay?
I'm okay with increase.
Are you okay with losing?
Oh, not losing.
You
$25,000 that you would have
$25,000.
otherwise had.
Well, then what happens though? Because I went through that when I worked for a large finance company, where um, I had my 401k there, and
Okay.
you have the increase because what they're doing is they're investing your money as well when you put it in there, right?
Of
This
course.
is what I was told by the CEO, and he said they're constantly investing your money. But
Right.
when there's a crash or any kind of differences, and what happened, that's when we went through, and the CEO was telling us, don't pull your money out, don't pull your money out. But we had a marquee up there that's showing our value of our money going down. For
Okay.
instance, the young lady had $300,000, and the CEO was telling them, no, don't pull your money out, don't pull your money out. But what they were doing was, that's during that time of Martha Stewart, they had inside trading. The stock markets went down to the point where they almost crashed, and we never recovered that money. Now, I do get a readout. Vanguard is my representative who monitors my money and the investments. But what happened? We took a loss, a severe loss. But what happened was they were doing all this inside trading among themselves. And so they didn't care about, I consider myself 401k. That's a type of investor as far as I'm concerned, because they're using my money to make money. All right. But I did not receive or recover from what they took from me. What do you call that?
Wow. Dr. Sims, I'm getting some I'm gonna just mute you back. Okay. Would you call that? I have no answer for that, but what I will say is that yes, there is insider trading going on, and I understand. And I'm guessing this was around maybe 2000. And I don't know. Tell me, what year was that, Dr. Sims?
When I left there, that happened like in late 99 to 2000.
Okay. Oh yes. Okay. There's a couple of things there. Okay, I'm gonna mute your mic a little bit because I'm. Are you driving out somewhere with your roof back?
No, I'm not in my office. No, I'm on. You know what? Anyway, I'm on my little iPad, so it's giving that feedback. But there's nothing else on around me. So
okay, no problem. Let me see if I can answer your question there. And I remember this vividly because I had a lot of clients and because I was a financial advisor at a bank. And I was the only stockbroker in that bank, right? That was my territory. And it was around 2000, and people were panicking because you know what was happening? Because everybody was afraid that someone had hacked into the system and everything was going to be wiped out. Your finances were going to be wiped out. Your banking accounts, your loans, your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, and everything like that. But what happened was the banks put a lot of systems in place, okay, to make sure that it didn't happen. And it didn't happen, because
a Y2K thing. Is that what you're talking about?
I said it again.
The Y2K issue from 99 to 2000. Is that what you mean?
No, it wasn't that.
Okay.
It wasn't that at all. No. Then what happened too, and then after that, William, to give you more of an explanation, a lot of the big wigs who had big money invested, they quit working for that entity. Okay, they got their money and pulled out. Okay, that's during that time.
Was that Texas company that electric company? What you talking about?
No, no, I'm not. I worked for a household finance company at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they messed over our money, and the young lady, I'm just using because I'm not giving my figure out, but she lost to the point where she had to continue working. Okay,
that's right.
And it was a sad situation. But the big wigs, and here's what my problem was: is those that had the most investing authority, I should say. Maybe that's the wrong words to use, but to me, it's like they stole my money. That's how I was feeling, because they had an inside information, and then guess what? Those people quit their jobs. Right. They got the money and they ran.
Right, okay. Right. And Dr. Simpson, no, what happened was they didn't steal your money, but what happened was the system was manipulated and you lost money. And because of the inside information they had, they did not lose money. So they didn't take yours. But what happened was they capitalized on the situation, and it was this was back in 2000 that Dr. Sims was talking about it, and it was panic. Everybody had everybody, I've never seen anything like this before until now, this stuff that's happening right now. But everyone was panicked. They didn't know what to do. And they were being alarmed that you need to protect your finances. You need to do this. You need to do that. I mean, and everybody was on alarm. And I had one client to call me, William, I'm afraid. I said, okay. But what I had information on that the banks had secured their systems so that they would not be affected, and had also to do with the internet. And you know how much the internet has to do with our banking systems right now. And everybody was afraid that their systems were going to be shut down, no access. I mean, it was this complete fear. And I had a client, and I had to calm her down. I said, "Don't worry. I think we have everything in touch." And what it was called YK 2000, when it was supposed to be this entity that was supposed to take advantage of your accounts, have all of your information, be able to steal your money. And it was total panic and fear here in the United States and around the world.
Wasn't that a time too? And I understand what Ann was talking
about. What you have to say?
I'm sorry.
No, go on.
I was also during that time, Ann, and I know what you were talking about, Ann, about the computer switch over to 2000.
Right.
Everybody was panicking that the computers were going to stop and that we didn't have things updated enough and all that stuff. So there was a dual panic time. But I lost money during that time. You see what I'm saying? It's like, wow. The two don't mesh in my mind. Why would that affect my money? But it didn't. What they were thinking about the computers crashing, that never happened. They put everybody on watch, even at the job, everybody on watch. And in fact, I don't even think I had to go to work that day. I'm just saying. Okay.
I know what you're saying. Can I ask you a question?
I think if I can say something real quick, it sounds like what she's saying is that she had a pension, because I think the pensions at that point were only involved with one stock, like the stock for the company where you worked, and the 401ks, they have mutual funds, if I'm not mistaken. So the stocks are varied. So there's less of a chance that you'll lose everything. But William can tell me if I'm wrong about that.
I think okay. Let me just say this. I understand exactly what Dr. Sims is saying, and I had people that were panicking over the same things that she had, but it had nothing to do with the people at whatever institute or institution you're working at. They had no control over that. It was something that was put out. And see, a lot of this stuff is manipulative, folks, to drive up the market. See, the company that you work for, Dr. Sims, that was a big company. I forgot the name of it, but I remember.
Household finance company. It's household finance company. It's huge.
Huge.
But they sold it to China, and now it's household of Beijing.
Right. Oh, now think about what she just said. Household financial of Beijing.
Yes.
Beijing. Well,
yes.
Beijing is not in the United States either, is it?
No, it's
China.
Okay, all right now. Folks, do you have to understand it's a world economy. And so what these people put out in the ethos, what they put out, it resonates with a large group of people, which is going to result in, do I have confidence or not? Confidence make you buy. The opposite of that says, no, I'm not going to spend another dime here. And you have to understand that you have these people out here, nefarious people out here that's going to take advantage of us. And they have been. And in the Senate, in the Congress, and you have to tell me, and I don't care about a party. I'm not even talking about a party right now. How you can walk into Congress, poor as a church mouse, and walk out a millionaire or a billionaire. How does that happen?
I've been wondering the same thing, especially on their yearly annual salary, and they haven't been there that long, and all of a sudden they are millionaires about 3 or 4 times miscalculated money. And so that's my question. How somebody gets, and it's not through trading. They can't tell me that.
No.
Okay. In the stock market, they can't tell me that.
And you know, and Dr. Sims, you're right. Okay, I am agreeing with you 1,000,000% here. It's not only that, but kind of think about this. So you have to look at this. There are lobbyists that come on, and let's put it like this. I don't know 100% how this works, but I can only imagine. I'm a lobbyist for this it's quadruple billion dollar company. And I come to you, hey, Dr. Sims, you're a member of Congress, right? We would love to back you. Let's have a meeting. And somehow I buy your vote. Because if you listen to us, we can contribute maybe 10, 15, 20 million, $30 to your pot.
20 million or $30.
million. So what happens folks, the way the system is set up, I think is pretty ingenious. But the way it's operating, it is a scam.
Yeah, William, because everybody don't profit from it. Because when you were saying that, I said, let a sister in on some of the action, so I could be a millionaire too. I'm just saying, because I think you just have a particular. I mean, I'm not talking about a party, a particular group of people who know the investors process, who knows the amount of money being dumped into commodities and things like that. They have firsthand knowledge of it. I know we can look it up, the stock markets, because my brother does that too. He looks it up. But I know that we can, but we haven't been educated to do so, to know how to read the stock markets, what we can invest in, what's hot, what's not. And I think that's due to our issue. But the thing is this, things are not done fairly as far as the way I'm looking at things. It's just not fair because they have firsthand knowledge and we don't get firsthand knowledge. To me, I feel like we're getting secondhand and thirdhand knowledge.
Dr. Sims, I couldn't agree with you more. Let me share something with you. I'm going to meet you. Okay, thank you. Wow. This is so deep. We have to continue this. I'm going to tell you something, folks, because I'm going to do my best to educate our audience on what I have learned. I don't even do this anymore. I don't trade stocks. A licensed stockbroker. Not only that, I have and had licenses in a Series 7. Okay, if you guys don't know what that is, look it up. That is licensed to sell stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and so on. I'm also a licensed commodities broker. That means I can sell pork bellies, corn, wheat, whatever it is. You guys remember that show, Trading Places?
Mm-hmm.
With Eddie Murphy
that was a good movie. Good movie.
Right. I love that movie. And what they were talking about, please write this down, folks. And we haven't even covered this. We haven't even scratched the surface. They were trading. Do you think they were trading a stock? No.
It was
a commodity. Okay. And oranges are commodities. Folks, there's more to go into it with the stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You also have commodities. You also have options. Do you guys know what options are?
That's what you explained last week, the difference between an option and a put, right?
Options are, thank you, Ann, for listening. Mm-hmm. Options is that, did you know there's another part of trading in the stock market, and it has nothing to do with buying a stock or bond or mutual fund, what it is? It's called an option. That means I can go into a gamble. It's like Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bet whether this stock is going to go up or whether it's going to go down. That's called an option, folks. And the average person has no idea what it is. There's also a thing called margins. Can anyone on this panel tell me what a margin is?
Yeah, that one I'm not familiar
A
with.
margin means that I can go into a major brokerage firm and borrow $500,000 and put up $500,000, and we're gonna gamble what happens next.
Mm, mm.
Folks, I'm just trying to share with you. There's so much that's going on that we don't have a clue.
Well, but this is my thing. It's you don't have a clue about it because this is not your
It's not taught.
neighborhood. I mean, if you are a person with $1 million that you're able to invest, or 10 million or 100 million, whatever, then okay, this is a playground where you can play because it's your neighborhood. But if you don't have that kind of money, I mean, you have some stocks that aren't, $20 a share, $50 a share. They're hundreds of dollars per share. That's just for one share of stock.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes more sense for people, in my opinion, who don't have a whole lot of money to invest in one stock. And when I say one stock, I mean one company, to invest in mutual funds, because that spreads it's you and a bunch of other people pooling your money together in order to purchase stocks. At least that's the way I understand it, the simple ABCs of it. I could be wrong, but it seems like it's a lot easier for people who have very little to no money to be involved in the stock market if you're dealing with that, versus doing these more how do I say these more
expensive?
These more expensive ways of investing, and that's why people don't know anything about it. It's hard to know about that type of stuff when you don't have a reason to be poking your nose around in it. And maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. But I mean, if I don't have enough pennies to get together in order to purchase, a 100 shares of $20 stock, or 100 shares of $500 stock, then this is not a priority for me. I'm looking more at what I can do. I can put my money in a savings account, which isn't going to pay a lot of interest. I know that. But I could also do stuff like get a CD, which isn't all that great either. But people do what they can do at the level that they're on, and I think that's kind of the issue. You have the have-nots, the haves versus the have-nots when it comes
Right.
to investing and saving.
And you said a lot there, and I applaud you for saying it, because I'm going to tell you something. Yes. Those of us who don't have maybe $10,000 or $15,000 of doing that, there's a couple things that we could look at. We could look at penny stocks.
Yeah.
What is a penny stock?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. Like, for instance, in 2008, when that big bank crashed, it turned into a penny stock.
Okay.
But then there's some other stocks that are new and they're trading for pennies at the moment. So,
well, not exactly, my dear friend.
Okay, like, hey, just let me know.
So, a penny stock is anything that's under $5 a share.
That is not a penny. $5. No.
Hold on.
That's like 500 pennies.
And darling,
I'm sorry. I count my pennies.
And darling, I'm no. Let me tell you something. I didn't say that. That's not a penny.
Right.
I'm saying that's the definition.
Oh, okay. Because see, I'm thinking penny stock, it costs like 15 cents.
Yeah, and guess what? And if you find something you believe in that's cost 15 cents right now, jump on it. No,
I mean, it's not much to lose.
No. What I'm saying is, they defined a penny stock years ago. One time I looked at it, and it was $2. Anything below $2 was considered a penny stock, and the definition is done that for a reason, because when you go on the New York Stock Exchange, you have different levels of stocks, and it goes up to blue chip stocks, and they put a price on it. And anything that was defined as being valued at below $5 a share at that time, or $2 a share at any given time, was considered a penny stock. That means that you could buy it from 1 penny up to $1 to $5 or whatever it is. They were considered penny stocks. Now, penny stocks are considered the most vulnerable, high-risk stocks there are, because it has no track record, no proven profits or anything like that. That's why it's called a penny stock.
Okay.
Even though it may be $5 a share, or $2 a share, or $1.50 a share. Anything below that level is considered a penny stock. Now, there's a great story behind penny stocks, because at one time, Microsoft was a penny stock.
Wow.
What is Microsoft's value right now? I guarantee you it's not pennies.
No, that's an expensive stock these days.
Amazon. Check out your major brands right now. You'll find out that a lot of them are no longer considered penny stocks. Okay? Folks, so there's a lot of education that we need to know as a society if we really want to talk about growing our money and what it really, really means. Okay? There are, like I said, you got stocks, you have bonds, you have mutual funds, but there's a whole lot more that goes on behind the scenes that we as a society have no clue what really drives it. You have commodities. The pork that you eat, those chickens that you eat,
the egg
whatever. Strawberry, that's a commodity.
Cotton, soybeans.
That's exactly right. And you have no idea, because there was something going on about soybeans.
Yeah, they're worried about the Chinese getting soybeans from somebody else now.
Folks, we have to understand, and I am glad that we had a chance to talk about this a little bit. And I hope you take away one thing from this, is that we're trying to point you to a direction of how everything we've talking about tonight has a direct effect on your life.
Can I say something?
Yes, please. I'm tired of talking anyway.
Okay.
What? You tired of what?
Yeah, I'm tired of talking.
Again.
I'm tired of talking. I'm tired.
That's wrong. But anyway, I was listening, and I'm really
Shut up, Mike.
Stop. Okay, let me finish before you two get into it. But anyway, I was thinking about it, because even with what things are going on today, my consideration, I'm up in age, okay, and you don't know how long I have to live. I'm not professing anything, but I'm caring about my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. And like, they need to learn these things, okay? We don't know from one day to the next how the economy is going to look, all right? It's not like it was back in the days of old. We kind of had kind of good idea. Like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and do whatever. But today, the uncertainty, because we have, and I know that the rich folks has an inside viewpoint on the stock, but we have a lot of scammers too in the upper echelon as well.
Absolutely.
We have to
Are you
face that.
serious? Hey, Dr. Sims, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I agree with you 100%.
Right.
Now I'm gonna
Right.
shut up.
Okay. Okay. But what I'm saying
Another
is,
first.
I think people are out for. It's not like a brotherly love anymore. Not like it used to be. It's like I'm going to get mine, forget about you, kind of feelings within themselves, and that's why I said, and the Bible talks about that the love of money is the root of all evil. But I do know money answers all things. I do know that. Where's everybody?
I know everybody left. It's just Studio W Buzz. I don't know what happened.
Okay, well, anyway. Oh my goodness. Okay. And so what I'm saying, and I'll just talk to you one on one. How about that? Okay. No, I'm just saying.
I can still hear you.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
No, I'm listening.
Oh, great.
I'm just listening. Okay.
Okay, wonderful.
For change.
Okay.
You can. You said you were tired of talking. Me what?
I know. I'm gonna send him a cookie. How about that? No.
No, what we were noticing is that the screen changed, and you can't see us anymore. You can just see the Studio W Buzz logo.
Right. Right.
What is that horror? No, I haven't seen this. What is that horror background noise? Dr. Kim, Dr. Are you
I'm in my living room. I'm not in the office, and I'm on my iPad. I have nothing else open whatsoever.
why am I hearing all this interference?
I have no idea. Maybe it's where
okay, all right. I'm gonna let you in the hand talk right now.
Okay, but what I was trying to say is, it's not like it was years ago. I think the rich are out for themselves, and it really is what it is. And here's what I'm thinking. Let me just put it on the table. I think they either want. There's no, to me, a medium ground. Either you're rich or you're poor. Okay, this is what, in my mind, my theory. To forget the middle part, the one who is average. I'm thinking either you're going to be rich or you're going to be poor. So, and when it comes to the stock market, when it has to do with anything with money, a lot of these folks are hoarding money. They don't need all that money. They can give me some. I'm just saying, okay.
They could, but they don't want to. They're greedy and they're selfish. They're in the point where they are in power now, and they're making sure
right.
They don't have to help anybody.
Exactly. And my thing is because, but it's our money, the ones on the low totem pole, that help make them rich through investments and what have you. And that's why I was referring to my 401k. And using my money. I mean, they cashed in their stocks, they did, but they still cashed in some of my investment. And that's my theory. That they did cash in some of my investment. They got theirs, they pulled out and stopped. They took some of my money, telling us to hold tight, things are going to change. The whole time they were cashing money, their stocks in the whole time. And I cannot get that out of my head, because many of us, we lost thousands of dollars. No joke. Okay. And it's like, that wasn't given back to us. We just suffered the loss, period. And so I equated, because of them pulling out, doing their thing, inside trading, what have you, doing their thing, counting on our ignorance, of course, and just doing their thing. And I think it's, and I know Mike gave a scenario. It's a chess game. And I agree with that. They're playing chess. They're also playing chess with commodities and money, but they're playing chess with people's lives. And so that's a travesty for me. I don't know how you guys think about that.
I agree that the rich tend to get richer off the backs of poor people and people who are marginalized or don't have a voice. They take advantage of those people until they get tired of taking advantage of those people, or they feel threatened or something by those people. So yeah, you have folks going to work every day, working hard, showing up, and since around the 1960s, there's been a huge disparity between the amount of money that the average worker makes versus what the people at the top make. And it's only gotten worse and worse with each passing decade. And then so it makes it easier for them to be able to invest their money and get richer, and harder for people, who are everyday workers to put two coins together in order to pay all their bills, let alone save and invest like other folks. Anyway, Mike, your opinion?
Okay. My opinion is this. Once again, it's a big chess game, and either you play the game properly or play the game well, or you lose. And I made a lot of money before William, and William has thankfully made me and my brother and my buddy Randy a lot more money after we already made some money. But that being said, why are wealthy people wealthy? And I'm going to answer, it's a rhetorical question. Wealthy people are wealthy because they made good decisions. They played the chess game. They played the chess game well. So if you've got money, it means that you know how to play the game. If you didn't make money, it means you don't know how to play the game. And that's my opinion.
I really appreciate the fact that you are so optimistic about wealthy people. I am not. Not everybody who makes money makes it honestly.
That's true.
And so there are lots and lots of people out there who have been playing a game all right, but it's got loaded dice. So that they're the
To some
only
degree,
ones who
you're correct.
win
Yes.
and other people don't. And so that's kind of, my problem. And they continue to load the dice. They continue to we were talking about earlier, I think it was William talking about lobbyists, have people lobbying folks who we have elected to represent us, to make laws that benefit them, so that that affects labor, that affects unions, that affects how much money you can make, that affects what your benefits look like, how much overtime you can get, how much leave time you can get if you're pregnant or just had a baby. So these are not people who are playing chess. These are people who are just cheating. And not all of them. I do believe that there are some
I never
very good
cheated
people.
anyone.
I'm not talking about you cheating anybody. And if it makes, if you think that, I apologize. I didn't mean to make you feel that way.
No. Because William knows my financial situation. I never cheated anyone. I never took advantage of anyone. I got on the stock market with him, and he's done very well by me, and I appreciate the hell out of him. But I've never taken advantage knowingly of anyone.
Right. I'm talking about big business, like the people that Dr. Sims have been referring to, who knew that there was a problem, but they didn't want the stock price to drop, so they told everybody at their company, don't sell, because if you sell, that means the stock price is going to drop and they're not going to make as much money. So that's why she was feeling cheated. And I'm talking about those folks. I'm talking about the Donald Trumps of the world who won't pay their bills, even though they've gotten all this work out of folks. But you are supposed to be a billionaire, who won't pay their taxes, but you are supposed to be a billionaire. And not only that, a Christian, and Jesus said, hey, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. I'm talking about those types of folks who don't follow the rules because they don't think the rules apply to them, and who will do anything for money, because they're greedy. Now, your everyday investor, like you and other people who, have earned a good living, or inherited money or saved up, or whatever the case may be, to where you're able to purchase stocks and do well, that's different. Not I'm not referring to those folks. I'm talking about the people like the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world who, on the one hand seem to be one thing, and then later on showed you the gaping hole in his underwear so you understand who he really is. I'm talking about
we went
those
from butt
people.
crack to underwear.
Right. It's a saying in
And
the
I
South.
love you. I really do.
It's a saying in the South, you're showing your ASS. And I cleaned it up a little bit for the radio, Mike, but I had to explain it. But that's what I'm talking about, those folks who are wealthy to the point where all of their needs are being met. And yet the thought of helping someone else who is struggling pains them. The thought of them, I remember watching a news program, I can't remember, it was years ago which one it was, but they were asking people who were rich, why they didn't give more to people who weren't. And they all, well, not all of them, but a lot of them said the same thing. They were afraid of losing their money. They were afraid of not having money. So they didn't want to share it because they were afraid that one day they might need it, what they gave away. And that's not one of those things that most of us, I guess, have this huge fear of. We've not been, multimillionaires, we've not been billionaires, so we don't understand, I guess, that fear of losing all of that and having to go back to square one and working hard and trying to rebuild that type of financial empire. At the same time, it's amazing how those of us who have less are also more willing to share, not because we're afraid that we're going to not have as much. Not saying that there aren't those of us who do, or instances where we don't feel that. Just saying that we know what it's like to not have enough. And so when we can share, we tend to make it a priority to do so. And it's amazing that when some people get to a certain level of financial success, they forget that particular lesson. They lose that heart for other people. But that's just me. Anyway, I guess, William, your voice has had enough time to recover. You ready to talk again?
Let me say something here, Ann,
okay,
because
go ahead, Mike.
I appreciate what you're saying, and it's nice if you can help other people. And I've done, my entire life has been about helping those that I don't even know. And I'm happy to do it because it feeds my heart, it feeds my soul, it feeds my mind. But here's the thing. While I have money and I can help others, I have, but I don't foolishly share my money with people that have already made bad decisions in their life. So if you're one of those people out there that's poor because you've made bad decisions, I'm not going to feed into that. I'm happy to help people that are in need if you've made good decisions in your life. I'm fine with that. But I'm not going to help people that have made poor decisions to make more poor decisions.
Well, I tell people like this. I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it here, but I know I've said it probably on the Eating as an Act of Worship Ministry show. I always pray and ask God who I should help and when I should help. There are people that I see who are in need all the time, and I don't have a problem giving people money to go buy food, or have shelter for the night, or whatever the case may be. But I am cognizant of the fact that it may not necessarily be my time to give. For instance, the disciples said that they wanted to go into Asia Minor to preach, but the Holy Spirit restrained them, and they later found out that God had already sent other people to that area to preach the gospel, so they weren't needed there. So my thing is, there are enough of us here, especially in this country, with the financial means to help each other. So when it's your turn, do you pass the test? Does he pass the test? Does she pass the test? And so my question always is, Lord, is it my turn to give? Lord, do you want me to give something to this person? And if he says no, I trust him that he has prepared somebody else to be the one who is going to give, because it's more blessed to give than to receive. So it's their turn to pass the test of obedience and making that sacrifice to help somebody else in order to receive their blessing. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I apologize if I
yeah. But you don't like supporting people that make bad decisions, do you?
Well, it's like this. Everybody on this planet makes a bad decision at some point.
Oh.
And because we all make bad decisions, we all at some point need help. Now, I'm not saying, because the Bible makes it clear that we shouldn't cast our pearls before swine. So, I mean, if I know you're going to go and smoke crack with the money, no, I'm not going to help you commit suicide. But at the same time, I'll give you a case in point. I don't know if I told you guys this before, but I worked as a law clerk when I was in law school, and my husband had lost his job, and we were really financially in a bind. And so I had $5 to my name. I was hungry, and I went to get lunch on my lunch break. And on the way back to the office, this man stopped me. He was obviously homeless, and he was pandering, asking for money. I didn't have any money because I spent the last I had, but I did have the food. It hurt my heart, but I just held out my lunch bag to him. And he went completely off on me. I don't want that. I wax for money. I blah, blah, blah. I was like, praise the Lord. Okay, bye-bye. Because I'm going to eat today. You know what I'm saying? I was willing to feed you because I'm not as hard up as you are. But if you don't want this, if this is not what is on your mind today, and you want to be angry with me about it, hey, you don't understand. At this point, you have done me a favor. So I will meet the needs if I can. If I got a bottle of water and that's all I can give you, and it hadn't been open, I will give you the bottle of water. I will give you a ride. Well, my husband won't let me do that anymore, but
I don't blame him. I do not blame him.
Yeah, he got mad when I, admitted that I sometimes gave people rides, and he was like, "Don't ever do it again." So he's a husband, so I obey him on that score. But my thing is, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. That means this car is God's, and if somebody needs a ride, then your will be done, Lord. I'll be the one today to give them a ride. But I think if we constantly make people pay over and over and over and over and over and over and over again for the mistakes that they made, and never are willing to help, how can we then say we are the land of a second chance? How can we say that we forgive people the way that God tells us to forgive people? I'm not saying they'll get it right, but let's just be real. How many times have we done the same things over and over and over again until we finally got it right? It's just part of being human. But anyway, I'm sorry I talked too long because we are out of
time.
The Lord helps those that help themselves.
Yeah. You making noise back there. Okay. Anyway, and Dr. Sims, Mike, I love you guys.
We love you too.
No, I just want to say this for real. And
I've heard him say that.
No, to me, no, seriously, I'm on a serious note right now. Has been and is a very important broadcast, because we We're all different, and that's the way God has made us. He didn't make. We all have something to contribute. We all have gifts. Okay,
Amen.
and but we also need to listen to one another, have a conversation. Mike and I, and even
Still
Dr.
working
Sims,
on that.
and we've talked about the importance. No, absolutely, listen to one another,
Mhm.
because all of us, how successful or not, and how successful we've been in our various ventures on this panel, Mike, Dr. Sims, and um, the reason why you guys are on this panel is because you are great people and you have something great to say. And we
And
and we may not, and often we might even clash. But I think that all of us are trying to get to a goal, because I believe in my heart that all of us want the best for our country and society.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Amen. Amen.
Okay. And
All
so we're
right.
going to take this information, and next week we'll probably talk a lot more about the economy. What can, not only the good, bad, and the ugly, but what can we do about it? Why don't
Well,
we talk about some solutions?
I want to say happy Resurrection Day to everybody. I'm responsible for Resurrection Day dinner, so I won't be able to participate. But you all have a blessed Good Friday,
Okay.
and please do, you know,
So,
spend some
so
time.
you were chicken out on us the next week. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not chickening out. I'm
Well, yeah.
lambing. I'm
I'm
lambing,
teasing, and you
and
know I'm teasing.
no. I'm gonna get this
No,
out.
no, 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 no. You know I'm teasing with you, darling.
I know, but I'm doing the lamb, I'm doing the homemade mac and cheese
Oh,
and the
what?
banana pudding and all that other stuff that we're having for Resurrection Day. So
You
yeah.
so you mean that you are preparing food that the three of us will not be able to participate? Is
no,
that what you're
Well,
trying to say?
if
and
you
I'm with
get here, you are welcome.
I'm not trying to
But
always call
that's up to you.
happy
and
rest.
and
And
you know it's not right.
I look, I love y'all, but I mean, I can't drop off plates in
Yeah, okay.
California and Virginia all in a few,
Yeah,
a
and
few
then Dr. Sims.
Yeah, send me some DoorDash.
Right. I don't think they're gonna. I don't even want to know what the cost of that would be.
And Dr. Sims,
yeah,
what's going on with your feed? Because we get a whole lot of noise. What's going on?
I
because
already told you she on her iPad. She in the living room, and that let that go. It's over.
She hasn't had that happen before.
wait a minute.
I
Okay,
don't
so
want to
this
hear nothing.
problem. I'm gonna say it anyway. But anyway, I said
He's
it.
on a different computer.
But listen, I just want to say I love y'all. It's been the show is it's quite an honor on a lot of issues, and I think that the freedom to talk about our individual feelings is necessary
Let's
because, like,
do it.
uh, William, that we're all different people, but our common goal, I believe, is to get an understanding. Now, no one person has all the answers, and talking biblically about caring for one another. And I know William's going to bring that up possibly the next show, but I too, Ann, have to do some cooking, darling, and I do homemade
Yeah, yeah.
cakes and
So,
pies like that.
so what are you trying to say? That means that you're going to bow out,
I said I
and bow out, and then I'm left with the knucklehead Mike.
family. Last time I was at my family's home when you and Dr. Dimmery was on, and I came on with you. I gave you some time during that time, but this year, that was a while ago, of course. But this time, I'm not going to be able to do that. I have to fix dressing and all that kind of good stuff.
Yes.
You know what?
and all that kind of good stuff. Okay.
And let me ask you, hey, Mike.
What?
You have to agree with me. Neither one of them have invited us to dinner.
I thought you said you weren't getting on a plane because
they live in different states.
Hold on. Because I'm gonna get on the plane or not, it has nothing to do with the invitation.
I think you are welcome to come over.
And I was talking to Mike.
Ann said you're welcome. Just get on the plane.
All of you are welcome.
You know, I'm not talking to Mikey.
Okay. Don't want to hear the truth.
I thought for once, brother, you would have some cojones and back a brother up.
Okay, I'm going home now. I mean, I'm going downstairs now. Bye bye.
I'm going downstairs, and I don't even have it downstairs.
Have a blessed.
No, hey guys. Hold on. Seriously, I thank each and every one of you for your contributions to what we do here. It gets off the rails.
Yes,
that's what it's supposed to be. It's called a boomerang.
And it's a talk show.
It's a talk show. What do you expect?
I just want you to go on your meds.
Well,
Mike, I was trying to give you a compliment. I'm going to take it back.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ann. Thank you,
Dr. Sims. Act Right Pills, 1995. 30-day supply. Oh, 90-day supply. I'm sorry. I have 90-day supply. 1995. Dr. Sims Act Right Pills. I'm telling you what.
That's your problem.
They can make an impact on your life, William.
That's your problem, Dr. Sims. Both of y'all on drugs. So.
No, that's the thing.
Okay, bye. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Oh my God.
Funny.
Totally off. Bye. Oh my God.